Okay, so in this video, we are going to cover a sample GED Social Studies type question. I love using what you see up here, Newsela. Newsela is a great site that has reading articles, and they actually have them at different levels, lower to mid to higher reading levels. So it's just a great resource for preparing for the GED Social Studies Test. So what we're looking at here is a primary source, and a primary source means that you're going to get a question based upon the original source. And we know on the GED Social Studies Test that we are going to be presented with primary sources, so that's why this is a good practice. And then in addition to that, we know that U.S. history is something that's covered on the GED test. So that's another reason why this video will provide some good practice for you. Now, what we're going to look at is the Articles of Confederation. And if you haven't thought about U.S. history in a while, you might be confusing this with the Constitution. It is really a precursor of the Constitution. But this document, as we'll see here in a moment, was signed on November 15th, 1777. And the Constitution was really signed about 10 years later, September 17th, 1787. So again, this is the Articles of Confederation, and it was taken up and signed in the Continental Congress. You see that here. And so that's the primary source we're looking at. So the main point of this video is how to read these primary source kinds of questions, how to read, how to follow along, and that's really going to be the focus of this video. So let's jump in. And so the Articles of Confederation, I've already highlighted that it was approved by the Continental Congress on November 15th, 1777. And so I'm going to be highlighting for you, but the idea for you is that you are going to be doing some mental highlighting. So we're just going to look through these articles. And what I am going to be doing with the highlighter, the idea is that I'm showing you and modeling for you, this is what you want to be doing mentally. So let's jump in. So the first article here is the name of the Confederacy, so be the United States of America. That's really nothing we need to focus on. Obviously, that's pretty clear. Article 2, each state keeps control, freedom, and independence. So that's a very specific thing, that each state within this confederation, within this grouping, within this United States of America keeps their own independence, and it says each state maintains all rights, powers, except for those specifically delegated to the United States. So again, we're just doing mental note taking, okay? And what I'm highlighting for you here on the screen is what you're modeling for you and showing you. This is the idea that you do mentally as you go through. Article 3. The states enter into a firm league of friendship with each other. So again, this is a agreed type of arrangement, this establishing of the United States, and it's for their mutual general welfare. Okay, and it's the promise to assist each other against all forces or attacks made upon them on the account of religion, trade, or any other reason. So they have each other's back. Article 4, to secure mutual friendship and communication amongst the people. So, how we're going to communicate and work together. So again, we're just taking mental notes. And you see, I'm not reading everything word for word because I don't really know what the questions are yet. So the idea is we're just going to take some mental notes. So that's Article 4. Article 5, for managing the general interest of the United States, delegates shall be annually appointed by the legislature of each state. So the legislature is their governmental body on the state level, and delegates to this confederation will be appointed by each state. So again, that's just something we need to know. It's not that these people are voted on; they're actually appointed by the legislature, who is voted on. Each state shall have one vote. That's something that's probably very important. And we just continue on down. Freedom of speech and debate in Congress shall not be impeached or questioned in any court, Okay, so this is, you can speak, there's no limits on what you can say. It may or may not happen, but there's no limits on it. Article 6, no state without permission of the United States Congress can meet or make arrangements with any. So again, we're functioning as a whole. So although you have rights and independence, you can't be making side agreements with other states. And within us, within this confederation, two states can't make any treaty or alliance unless it's approved by the whole. So again, you see these articles are just laying out how we're going to function. No vessels of war shall be kept in time of peace. So again, this is, kind of the idea of, you can't be, stocking up an army and maybe attack us later. So the idea is that armies and stuff are just specifically for purposes of war as determined by the whole. And so it says, unless there has been a declaration of war by the United States or the state has been attacked. So you can defend yourself, but you can't be, stockpiling in a way that would probably be threatening to the other states in the Confederation. Each state can form an army. So you can form an army, and it talks about how the officers are selected for the common defense of the United States. So not for your own state, but for the common defense of the United States. It talks about some expenses there in Article 8, treaties with other countries. We've already heard something, so this is a further clarifying of that in these articles. So the United States and Congress shall have the right and power of determining on peace and war, except mentioned in the 6th article, which we looked at above. Then the last court of appeal. So the United States and Congress assembled shall also be the last court of appeal. So this is kind of, if there's a dispute, this is where it's going to be settled. Again, and there's some detail there. But as you see, I'm just kind of reviewing. I'm just kind of going through, making some mental notes. Obviously, if you're on the test, you're going to be moving quicker than I am in this video, but I'm just kind of showing you, modeling for you. This is kind of how you're going to be approaching it when you are on your own and moving at a quicker pace. A committee of the states. The United States and Congress shall appoint a committee of the states to work when Congress is not in session. So there'll be times where the Congress is not in session, but there'll be a committee of states to take care of business if anything comes up in the meantime. Between time, Article 10, it just gives some more clarification that the committee of states, or any 9 states, so kind of like that majority concept, So again, these are just mental notes as we're going through. Congress pledges to pay all debts. Each state shall follow the rules set down by the Congress. The great governor of the world has guided this Congress. So again, it's just, and then all the folks who signed on behalf of their states. So now let's get to the questions. Question number 1. One main idea of the Articles of Confederation is that they were adopted for the benefit of all states in the United States. Which citation best supports that idea? So we're looking for the main idea of this Articles of Confederation is that they were adopted for the benefit of all. And I'm just going to highlight all there. So A, the said states enter into a firm league of friendship with each other for their common defense, the security of their liberties, and their mutual aid or welfare. So that's something that, we should, we'll kind of put a note by. It sounds good. The people of each state shall have the freedom. No, because that's individual rights. That's not for all. No state without permission of the United States and Congress can meet. No, that's again about individual. And the state in controversy with another state shall present a position to Congress stating the matter in question. Well, again, that's intrastate. That's between state. That's not for all. So there's only one here that is clearly for all. And so that's going to be A. Now, a second thing we want to think about is where does that exist in the text? So we want to go back up. And we'll go, I believe, I remember, it's Article 2 or 3. Right. So then there we see the quote. The said states shall enter in the firm league. and for the general welfare. So we see that quote there. And so again, any answer you make on the test, you want to make sure that you can find the direct source, or you want to find at least some evidence. So any answer you make, you always want to make sure that you can go back to the text and find it. So in this case, we were able to go back to the text and find it, and that's why we chose here A as our answer. Number 2, which option provides an accurate and objective summary of the section, the last courts of appeal? So again, this is asking another question about a summary. And other thing I want to point out here is what kind of questions these are. So these questions are really evaluation kind of questions where you're reading the text and making some judgment, determining what the meaning of something is really the skill of evaluation. And so that's what's at work here. So number 2, which option provides an accurate and objective summary? Again, we're talking summary. And it's going to highlight the word summary of the section, the last court of appeal. So we're just going to go back up to the last court of appeal. I believe we took a mental note on that. Okay. So the United States and Congress assembled shall be the last court of appeal in all disputes and differences between 2 or more states. And there's a bunch of detail there, but let's go back to the question and see how far we can get. So it says, A, Congress must select judges to hear cases brought in dispute. That's more of a detail. So we're looking for a summary, right? So the question asks us about a summary, and this is more detail. So we're going to say no. B, Congress will be the final court of appeal in disputes between states, and judges must swear to be fair. Congress will also have the right to set the value of money. So I'm going to hold that one. We'll have to go back up to the text. The Congress will have the right to set the value of coins and choose weights and measures. It will also have the right to set rules for cost of postage, and this money will pay for the post office. So I'm going to hold that one because I'm not sure. The Congress will have the impossible task of choosing 9 out of 39 people to be judges in disputes between the states. Those judges. So then that's detail. That's too much detail. So I'm going to say no. So again, which one provides an accurate, objective summary of the section? So let's go back up here to the section. And again, I'm just modeling for you. This is what you're doing on the test. You're just going back and forth. So we're going back to last court of appeal. So it says the state in controversy with another shall present a petition to Congress stating the matter in the question. If they cannot, so we hear about the Congress, and then we also, as we go down, we hear about the judges here, and so then we go down again. The Congress shall have the right to set value of coins. So then we hear some more good detail here, and then we hear about trade, and then we hear about post offices. Okay, so now we go back down to look at our 2 possible answers, B or C, and it says Congress will be so B says Congress will be the final court of appeals, so we know that's part of what it says. That's a summary. Congress will have the right to set the value of money and organize the post offices, so that's a summary. Okay, so it says which option provides an accurate and objective summary, and then so B is looking good, but let's look at C. The Congress will have the right to set the value of coins, choose weights and measures, and will also have the right to set rules for trade, coin postage, and money will pay for post offices. So now the problem I'm seeing with that, it doesn't summarize the major dispute of the actual being the last court of appeals. It's totally missing the last court of appeals. Is missing the last court section. So that's why I would say no on that one. So when we're looking at an objective summary, B has an accurate and objective summary because it covers all the matters of that particular article. Let's move on. So now 3 and 4, I'm going to allow you to do. I'm going to post a a PDF, link to the PDF of this with the answers in it so you can check your answers. But again, as you're preparing for the GED Social Studies test, remember a couple things. There's a primary source, and that's where we're looking at the Articles of Confederation, U.S. history. And it's not that you need to memorize all this U.S. history, but you want to be familiar with some of these concepts before you sit down at the test. And then you want to be able to go through and read and take mental notes. And then while you're taking mental notes, you go and look at the questions. And then so you're in a much better position to go back and forth between the questions and the text to get your answers correct. Of course, I've taken a reading here that's much longer because I want to be deliberate about establishing this type of thought process as you're on the test. On the test, you're going to get a much shorter piece that you're going to be able to read a whole lot quicker, and then the questions will follow after that. So, but again, this is to give you an example of what it's like to take and study for, or I should say to study for and then successively take the GED Social Studies test. If you like this video, please like it. If you want more videos like this, subscribe so that you'll know when I post new videos to our YouTube channel.